at the Oklahoma Sooners top prospects first, and we touched base slightly on Mateer. Let's start with John Mateer because to me, Russ, I see a guy who's a playmaking point guard type of quarterback, can beat you with his feet, beat you with his arm, but really at this stage of the process, more of a one read quarterback. He looks to take off and run it a little bit too much for my liking. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't have all the tools. I'm not saying he can't develop, but for somebody we were talking about, I mean, I saw people putting him up there as the number one pick, first round pick. Let's pump the brakes a little bit because he is just a redshirt junior. I do think this quarterback class is going to thin out quickly. And guys like Mateer are going to say, hey, what? I can go back, collect the NIL payday, and boost my draft stock. I think John Mateer fits into that category.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that he's a guy that should be going back for another year. I think when you watch him, and this is where you'd love to be in the building, be able to talk to the coaches, find out where he is in terms of reading defenses and stuff. But yeah, you talk a lot about him. He's an athletic kid. I think he's a vastly underrated athlete. He can be an accurate throw, but he's a little bit inconsistent at times. I'd like to see more consistency now, and that's the question: is it the injury, or have teams sort of figure out here are his strengths, here are his weaknesses? I want to see more of him. I think coming back for another year would help. We've talked about the Deion Burks kid. I mean, this kid is a twitchy little kid. 5'9" and change, 180 pounds. He gets the ball out in space. He can make guys miss. He's got legit pull away, go home run speed. The big kid, Keontae Lewis, came into the year sort of unknown, had a good solid year. I like him. He's a taller kid, over 6'1". There's something there. We keep talking about, every time we talk about Oklahoma, the tight end Kanak. I like this kid. He's more of that H guy because he's 6'1" and change, 230. Talk about a kid that catches the ball. He's athletic. I like what he does. Offensive line, the Derek Simmons kid is intriguing because he looks the part when you see a big, thick-bodied kid, but he's got shorter arms. I don't know if he really has the athleticism to really stay outside. I think he's probably going to be a guard projection. And then I know I'm going to screw this kid's name up, but Fabechi Nuahu, 6'4", 326 approximately, came over from North Texas. Good, strong physical guard. I think he and Simmons are guys that are probably going to be UDFAs. Defensively, they have two D linemen, Marvin Jones. We've talked about him a bunch. A guy that knows how to get after the quarterback, more of an edge guy. And then you have Mason Thomas, the other defensive end, a little bit smaller at 6'1" and change, a little bit smaller, probably 245, 250, but a little bit twitchier. Seems to have a better feel for how to defeat guys and get to the quarterback. And then you have Demonic Williams, the interior guy, 6'1", 300 plus pounds. All three of these guys are going to get drafted potentially in the first two rounds. Very good football players. The Daniels linebacker, another long kid, 6'4", 240, runs well, going to be a mid-round pick. And the safety Jennings, Spears Jennings. This kid's a good football player, 6'1", 211. He can run. He has a good feel for what's going on in front of him. What I like about him is he's not huge, but at 211, he's willing to come up and he's willing to make some plays physically. So there's something to like there. I think Oklahoma's got a really good core on defense of legit draft-eligible guys. They're going to get 4 or 5 guys drafted in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, Venables definitely knows defense over there. And they got a couple guys who've kind of popped onto the radar. Guys like Grayson Holton, who's playing very well, the defensive tackle, a little bit short, height and length, 6'2", 295. Only 31 and 1/8 inches arms, but somebody, who might be a high priority free agent with make it type of traits. Isaiah Satanga, the redshirt junior. I mean, this is one of the fastest players in college football. 5'9" and 5/8, 182 pounds. He's been timed in the 4.3 range. He's also a kick returner. So when he does decide to declare for the draft, that's going to maybe boost his draft stock a little bit more, and he can really separate along with Deion Burke. So, Mateer has some speed burners to really throw to in that offense. It's unbelievable. Marvin Jones Jr., you mentioned, obviously he started off, he bounced around a lot of time pedigree and never really, the light bulb never went on. But again, 6'4", 2/8, 260 pounds, long, lengthy, athletic, NFL bloodlines. Of course, Marvin Jones, good friend of the show, former number 4 overall pick in the 1993 draft. Some of us actually remember that, Russell Lande. And
Yeah, unfortunately.
and one guy who's just been very disappointing, and a couple years ago I was bananas about Jaden Ott. I don't know what the heck happened. There was all kind. I know he got hurt last year at Cal, but there was a lot of big expectations. You've heard almost zilch from Jaden Ott, and it's been a little bit unfortunate there for him.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I think he has not become what people had hoped. And you mentioned Marvin Jones. Marvin is, and I mentioned he's an intriguing kid, but where does he fit? He's not that special twitchy edge guy, and he's not that big power guy. I think you got to find a home for him. I think the Mason Thomas may not have the bloodlines, may not have the look when you put them next to each other, but I think he's got a better feel for defeating guys and getting to the quarterback. I think he has a little bit more twitch. There's something about Thomas I like when I watch them play, but I will say that is a good defense. They have some prospect with Thomas, with Williams, with Daniels, and I really think the Spears Jennings kid could be the sleeper of their whole defense.
Yeah, Spears Jennings should test pretty well too. That should help him, give him a little bump in the draft. All right.